An accidental bond. Rylan Wade should have known better than to trust a mysterious invitation to an exclusive astronomy conference in Norway. As a quantum physicist specializing in theoretical wormholes, he'd received plenty of dubious offers before, but something about this one felt different. The coordinates led him to a remote observatory perched atop a snow-covered mountain, its dome gleaming under the aurora borealis. He never expected to find himself face to face with Princess Novara of the Luminarian Empire, her skin shimmering like starlight and eyes holding the depth of galaxies. Her civilization had been watching Earth for centuries, seeking the right moment and the right person to establish first contact. But what began as a diplomatic meeting spiraled into chaos when assassins from a rival alien faction attacked the observatory. In the confusion of plasma fire and shattering glass, Novara activated an ancient ceremonial artifact to protect them both. Neither realized it would bind their life forces together in an unbreakable bond, marking Rylan as her eternal consort and co-ruler of an interstellar empire. In the chaos that followed, Rylan found himself aboard Novara's crystalline ship, hurtling through space toward the heart of the Luminarian Empire. The massive vessel's interior defied Earth physics, with corridors that shifted like liquid light and viewports showing impossible celestial phenomena. "The binding cannot be undone," Novara explained, her voice carrying notes that made the air vibrate. "Our life forces are now intertwined. Without proper training, the connection could drive you mad." Her personal guard, led by Commander Thex, watched Rylan with obvious disapproval. The ship's medical bay confirmed the reality of their situation. Holographic displays showed their synchronized neural patterns, two different species now sharing a quantum-level connection. Rylan's scientific mind raced with questions, but survival instincts screamed louder. "Why me? There are billions of humans on Earth. The artifact chooses based on compatibility of consciousness," Novara said. "It saw something in you that resonates with our people's future." She paused, studying him. "The question is, will you embrace this destiny or fight it?" Before Rylan could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. A fleet of dark vessels emerged from hyperspace, the same faction that attacked the observatory. The Shadowborn, ancient enemies of the Luminarians, had followed them. "They'll try to kill you before the bond fully stabilizes," Novara warned. "Without proper training, you're vulnerable." She pressed a crystal into his palm. "Focus your thoughts through it. Our connection can amplify your natural abilities." Rylan's physics background helped him grasp the principles quickly. The crystal responded to his mental equations, creating localized distortions in space-time. Working in sync with Novara, they generated a quantum shield around the ship just as the enemy opened fire. The battle that followed tested their newfound connection. Each maneuver required perfect coordination. Novara's innate mastery of Luminarian technology, combined with Rylan's understanding of theoretical physics. Together, they opened micro-wormholes to redirect enemy fire and collapsed local space to crush attacking ships. By the time they reached Luminara Prime, word of their victory had spread. The capital planet's surface was a masterwork of crystalline architecture and organic technology, with floating cities connected by bridges of pure energy. But Rylan barely had time to process the alien beauty before being whisked into the Palace of Light. The Luminarian High Council, 12 beings of pure energy barely contained in humanoid form, demanded immediate audience. Their judgment would determine whether this accidental bond would be recognized as legitimate. "The binding is unprecedented," the first speaker declared. "A human has never held such power in our realm." "The artifact chose him," Novara countered, "and he has already proven his worth in battle." Rylan stepped forward, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "I didn't ask for this connection, but I won't run from it. My background in quantum physics helps me understand your technology in ways few humans could. If this bond can benefit both our peoples, I'm willing to learn." The council deliberated in silent communion while Rylan and Novara waited, their shared connection humming with tension. Finally, the first speaker announced their decision. The bond will be honored, but you must complete the trials of ascension. Fail, and both your lives are forfeit. As they left the council chamber, Rylan caught glimpses of courtiers whispering behind ornate masks. Politics, it seemed, was universal. What exactly are these trials? He asked Novara. Tests of body, mind, and spirit, she replied. But the greatest challenge will be learning to fully trust our connection. The trials begin at dawn. She touched his temple gently. Rest while you can, my unexpected consort. Tomorrow, we discover if fate was wise or cruel in binding us together. That night, in his crystal-spun quarters, Rylan stared at the alien constellations visible through the living walls. His old life of research labs and academic papers felt like a distant dream. Now he faced trials that would determine not just his fate, but the future of human-luminarian relations. The weight of it should have been crushing, but the warm pulse of Novara's consciousness against his own brought strange comfort. Perhaps there was more to this accident than mere chance. Trials of the Crown. The trials of ascension began at first light, with Rylan and Novara facing their first challenge in the resonance chamber. The vast spherical room hummed with crystalline energy, its walls shifting between transparent and opaque as ancient machinery activated. The chamber will test your bond's strength, explained Archmaster Ven, a tall figure whose skin rippled like the surface of a neutron star. You must harmonize your consciousness to navigate the quantum maze. The trial thrust them into a series of ever-shifting dimensional spaces. Rylan's scientific mind struggled to process the impossible geometries, but Novara's presence in his thoughts helped anchor him. Together, they learned to manipulate the fabric of reality itself, bending space and time through their combined will. In the physical trials that followed, Rylan discovered their bond granted him enhanced abilities. His movements became fluid and precise, matching Novara's natural grace. They fought synchronized battles against combat drones, their shared consciousness allowing perfect coordination. But not everyone celebrated their progress. A faction led by Lord Kiros, Novara's former betrothed, openly challenged their legitimacy. A human cannot comprehend our ways, Kiros declared during a formal dinner. He will weaken the Empire. Novara's grip on her crystal goblet tightened. The old ways must evolve, Kiros. The artifact chose him for a reason. Later that night, Rylan found Novara in the Garden of Quantum Flowers, where blooms existed in multiple states simultaneously. Your people see me as a threat to tradition, he said. Some fear change, she replied, touching a flower that collapsed into a single reality at her touch. Others see opportunity. The Shadowborn grow stronger. Perhaps we need new perspectives to survive. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent summons. The High Council had detected unusual energy signatures near the quantum core powering the capital. Investigation revealed sabotage attempts, sophisticated enough to suggest inside help. Working with Commander Thex, who had gradually warmed to Rylan's presence, they began tracking the conspirators. Their bond proved invaluable, allowing them to process vast amounts of data through their shared consciousness. The breakthrough came during the Trial of Wisdom, where they faced the Ancestral Eye. The ancient system contained millennia of luminarian knowledge, and as they interfaced with it, Rylan noticed patterns in the data matching the saboteur's work. These are advanced quantum algorithms, he realized, but they contain traces of Shadowborn code structure. Novara's mind brushed his, following his logic. Someone is helping them breach our defenses. Their investigation led them to a shocking discovery. Lord Kiros had been secretly communicating with the Shadowborn, promising them access to luminarian technology in exchange for helping him seize power. But before they could act on this information, the final and most dangerous trial awaited: the Void Walk. Participants had to navigate through actual space-time anomalies, testing both their bond and their courage. As they prepared, Rylan felt Novara's concern through their connection. The Void Walk has claimed many lives, she admitted. But if we succeed, none can question our right to rule together. The trial chamber opened onto the bare fabric of space itself. Together, they stepped into the void, their bond the only thing protecting them from the quantum chaos. Around them, reality twisted and fractured, testing the limits of their shared consciousness. Through the mental link, Rylan shared his knowledge of theoretical physics, helping them predict and navigate the anomalies. Novara's inherent connection to Luminarian technology let them manipulate the quantum fields surrounding them. They emerged successful but exhausted, only to face immediate crisis. Kairos had chosen their moment of weakness to strike, activating hidden protocols in the palace defenses. As alarms blared and security systems turned against them, Rylan and Novara realized their greatest test was just beginning. The fate of the Empire now rested on proving not just their worth as rulers, but exposing a conspiracy that threatened to tear their worlds apart. As guards approached with weapons raised, Rylan met Novara's gaze. Their bond hummed with shared purpose and growing strength. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Rising storm. The exposure of Kairos's betrayal sent shockwaves through the Luminarian court. Using their bond, Rylan and Novara accessed the quantum archives, uncovering centuries of corruption. Kairos had been selling military secrets to the Shadowborn for decades, weakening the Empire's defenses systematically. But proving it wouldn't be simple. Kairos held significant influence among the noble houses, many of whom still viewed Rylan with suspicion. The evidence they gathered kept disappearing from secure databases, and witnesses fell silent. Through their mental link, Novara shared ancient memories of Luminarian politics. The noble houses respect strength above all. She explained during a private moment in their quantum-shielded chambers. We need to beat Kairos at his own game. Rylan applied his scientific methodology to the problem. Together, they planted false information about a weakness in the planetary shields, watching to see who accessed it. The trap worked. Kairos's agents took the bait, leading them to a hidden network of conspirators. Commander Thex proved invaluable, using his military connections to track suspicious fleet movements. The Shadowborn were massing their forces, preparing for a coordinated strike with their inside allies. During a formal gathering of the houses, Kairos made his move. He challenged Rylan's right to rule, invoking an ancient law allowing trial by combat. But there was a twist. The battle would take place in quantum space, where thought and reality intertwined. Accept, Novara urged through their bond. He doesn't know how strong our connection has become. The combat arena materialized around them, a space where physical laws bent to will and consciousness shaped reality. Kairos attacked with centuries of experience, his thoughts manifesting as weapons of pure energy. But he fought alone. Rylan and Novara's shared consciousness gave them an advantage, their combined understanding of physics and Luminarian technology, creating defenses Kairos couldn't penetrate. They turned his own attacks back on him, using quantum entanglement to trap his manifestations. In his desperation, Kairos revealed his true allegiance. His thoughts betrayed him, broadcasting the details of the coming Shadowborn invasion to everyone present. The evidence was undeniable. The High Council moved swiftly, but Kairos had one final card to play. He activated a hidden quantum virus in the planetary defense system, threatening to expose the capital to the approaching Shadowborn fleet. Racing against time, Rylan and Novara linked their consciousness deeper than ever before. His understanding of quantum mechanics merged with her innate connection to Luminarian technology. Together, they rewrote the virus's code in real time, turning it against the Shadowborn ships. The victory should have been complete, but as Kairos was led away, he smiled. "You've stopped nothing," he said. "The storm is already here." Warning signals flared across the quantum network. The Shadowborn hadn't just been planning an invasion. They had seeded thousands of sleeper agents throughout the Empire. Now those agents were awakening, causing chaos across multiple star systems. As reports of sabotage and uprising poured in, Rylan and Novara faced a terrible choice. Their bond had grown strong enough to coordinate a defense, but the strain of connecting to multiple quantum systems simultaneously could burn out their minds. "We have to try," Rylan said, feeling Novara's agreement pulse through their connection. As they prepared to attempt the impossible, alarms blared. The Shadowborn's main fleet had arrived, emerging from quantum space with weapons charged. The battle for survival was about to begin, and their newfound bond would be tested as never before. As they linked with the planetary defense grid, Rylan couldn't help but wonder if their connection was strong enough to save not just themselves, but an entire civilization. Battle for the throne. The Shadowborn fleet emerged from quantum space like a dark tide, thousands of ships moving in perfect formation. On the bridge of Luminara Prime's central defense station, Rylan and Novara joined their consciousness with the planetary grid. Through their enhanced connection, they coordinated the Empire's defenses. Quantum shields flickered as Shadowborn weapons struck, but held. Rylan's physics knowledge helped predict attack patterns, while Novara's battle experience guided fleet movements. The real threat, however, lurked within. Sleeper agents activated across the capital, sabotaging crucial systems. Commander Thex led ground forces against the infiltrators, but they were everywhere, disguised as nobles, servants, even council members. Through their mental link, Rylan noticed something odd in the Shadowborn's attack pattern. Their quantum signatures, they're familiar. The realization hit both of them simultaneously. The enemy was using corrupted versions of Kiros's defense codes. We can use that, Novara projected through their bond. Together, they created a quantum feedback loop, turning the enemy's own technology against them. Shadowborn ships began to fail as their systems crashed. But victory came at a cost. The strain of maintaining such complex quantum manipulations took its toll. Blood trickled from Rylan's nose as reality blurred around him. Through their connection, he felt Novara's strength wavering too. The Shadowborn commander, sensing their weakness, launched a desperate assault on the capital's quantum core. If it fell, the entire planetary defense system would collapse. In the chaos, another truth emerged. The sleeper agents weren't just Shadowborn. Some were Luminarians who believed in Kiros's vision of racial purity. The betrayal cut deep, especially when Novara's own cousin, Lady Selenith, was revealed among them. Racing to the quantum core, Rylan and Novara fought through waves of insurgents. Their bond allowed them to move as one, each covering the other's weaknesses, but the continuous strain threatened to overwhelm them. Inside the core chamber, they confronted Lady Selenith and her followers. "The Empire is stagnating," she snarled. "Mixing with lesser species will destroy us." The battle that followed tested every aspect of their training. Selenith wielded forbidden quantum technologies, her attacks distorting the fabric of reality itself. But she fought alone, while Rylan and Novara's shared consciousness gave them perfect synchronization. As the fight reached its climax, Rylan noticed critical instabilities in the quantum core. The saboteurs' actions had triggered a chain reaction. If they didn't act fast, the entire capital would be destroyed. Drawing on their combined knowledge, they began emergency stabilization procedures. But someone needed to physically enter the core and reset the quantum matrix, a process no single person had ever survived. Through their bond, they made the choice together. Working as one consciousness, they stepped into the swirling quantum energy. Their shared strength allowed them to endure what would have killed either alone. The core stabilized, but the effort left them drained. As royal guards secured the chamber, Rylan and Novara could barely stand. Yet their victory was complete. The Shadowborn fleet retreated, their sleeper agents exposed and captured. But amid the celebration, dark questions lingered. How many more hidden traitors remained? And could their bond survive the growing political pressure to separate them? As they looked out over their wounded but surviving capital, both knew the real challenges were just beginning. Unity's price. The aftermath of the quantum core incident changed everything. Rylan and Novara woke in the healing chambers, their bond altered by exposure to raw quantum energy. Their connection had deepened beyond anything the Empire had seen, letting them share not just thoughts but entire lifetimes of memory. This unprecedented unity brought new challenges. Conservative houses saw their enhanced bond as an abomination, fearing human influence would forever alter Luminarian genetics. The High Council debated implementing restrictions on their power, while others worried they had become too powerful to control. Through their shared consciousness, they worked to rebuild trust. Ryland's scientific insights helped modernize ancient systems, while Novara's diplomatic skills maintained peace among the houses. But each quantum interface drained them faster than before, their enhanced bond burning through neural pathways. The medical prognosis was grim. The quantum exposure that strengthened their connection was also slowly killing them. They could survive by severing the bond, but doing so would end their ability to protect the Empire effectively. A solution emerged from unexpected quarters. Master healer Ixera discovered a way to stabilize their condition, but it required sacrificing half their lifespan. They would live no more than 50 years, a blink for Luminarians, an age for humans. The choice weighed heavily. Through their bond, each felt the other's turmoil. Novara would outlive Ryland by centuries in normal circumstances. Now they faced the same shortened fate. Their private struggle became public when the Shadowborn launched a new offensive. Without their bonded strength, the Empire's defenses would be vulnerable. The stabilization procedure would take months, leaving them weakened at a critical time. Political pressure mounted. Some houses demanded they separate for the Empire's good, arguing that two healthy rulers were better than two dying ones. Others saw their sacrifice as proof of their commitment to unity. The decision came during a Shadowborn attack on a civilian outpost. Despite their weakened state, they linked with the defense grid. The effort nearly killed them, but they saved thousands of lives. In that moment, both knew they couldn't abandon their duty. They underwent the procedure together. Their consciousness merged as the quantum energies reshaped their existence. When they emerged, their power was tempered but stable. They would have 5 decades to shape the Empire's future, enough time to bridge their worlds if they used it wisely. The houses accepted their choice, seeing in their sacrifice an echo of ancient Luminarian values. Their shortened lifespan became a symbol of the price of true unity between species. As they recovered, Ryland and Novara began planning for the future. Their legacy would have to be more than military victories. They needed to create lasting change that would survive beyond their time. But even as they worked toward peace, intelligence reports brought disturbing news. The Shadowborn were developing technology to sever quantum bonds permanently. The final battle for the Empire's soul was approaching, and time was no longer on their side. Destiny's choice. The final confrontation began during a diplomatic summit meant to unite species across the galaxy. The Shadowborn unleashed their bond-severing weapon, a quantum disruption that threatened to tear apart not just Ryland and Novara's connection, but all quantum-based technology in the Empire. Through their weakened but stable bond, they sensed the attack coming moments before it struck. The weapon's effects rippled through quantum space, destabilizing the artificial gravity and defense systems of Luminara Prime. As chaos erupted, they made a desperate gambit. Using their combined understanding of quantum mechanics and Luminarian technology, they traced the weapon's energy signature to its source. The Shadowborn had hidden their device inside the quantum core of a dead star, believing it unreachable. Through their link, Ryland shared a dangerous theory. We can create a quantum tunnel directly to the device, but maintaining it would require channeling power from our own bond. The risk was clear. They might save the Empire but destroy their connection forever. Hours of debate condensed into seconds of shared thought through their bond. The choice had to be unanimous. They initiated the quantum tunnel as evacuations began across the capital. Through their enhanced consciousness, they reached across space itself, finding the weapon's quantum signature. But something was wrong. The device wasn't just severing bonds, it was collecting their energy, growing stronger with each connection it broke. In that moment, they understood the Shadowborn's true plan. They weren't trying to destroy the Empire. They wanted to harvest the power of quantum bonds to transcend physical form entirely. The solution came to them both simultaneously. Instead of fighting the weapon's pull, they channeled their bond's energy through it, overloading its collection matrix. The feedback would either destroy the device or them, possibly both. As they executed their plan, memories flowed freely between them. Ryland's childhood on Earth, Novara's centuries of training, their shared moments of triumph and doubt. Neither knew if these would be their last conscious thoughts together. The weapon's destruction sent quantum shockwaves across the galaxy. When they regained consciousness days later, their bond had changed again. The connection was quieter now, more subtle, but unbreakably woven into the fabric of their beings. The High Council offered them a choice: step down and live as private citizens, their shortened lives spent in peace, or continue ruling with their diminished but stable powers. Through their altered bond, they shared one last moment of perfect understanding. They chose to remain, not as symbols of power, but as proof that unity between different species wasn't just possible, it was necessary for survival. Their legacy would be the bridges they built between worlds, the reforms they implemented, and the example they set. Years later, as they watched new quantum bonds form between humans and Luminarians, they understood that their accidental connection had never been about ruling an empire. It was about showing two civilizations that the strongest power in the universe wasn't technology or tradition. It was the choice to grow beyond what you were born to be. As the sun set on another day in their shortened but meaningful life together, Rylan and Novara stood watching the quantum flowers bloom in their garden. Their bond hummed quietly between them, a reminder that sometimes the greatest destinies come from the most unexpected accidents.